Waheguru Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to Everyday Matters, and we have today with us three guests. And as you know, the program is about has two concepts: everyday matters, everything that's happened within the day, but also any issues that happen within the day. So we've got three guests with us who we're going to be talking about women, women's issues, but more so about empowering women, and also looking at how women's rights are violated, and how and what the Gurbani says about that. And we also be touching on child abuse as linked to women as well, because sometimes they're totally connected. What I'd like to do now is welcome the three guests. Davinderjeet Kaur Ahluwalia, welcome.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
And got Gurdev Kaurji, Panji,
Khalsa,
and got Rupi Kaur.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki
Right.
Fateh.
As you know, the topic for today is about women. So it's interesting that we got an all-women panel. It would have been nicer to have one of my colleagues here, but he's away at the moment. So the topic is about women, and what and how they are empowered or how they're disempowered within our communities. So that is what we're going to be looking at. And one of the things we will do is we'll speak in English, but we'll also have an opportunity to speak in Punjabi as well, because we have a mixed audience, the Sangat, so we need to be actually applying both the languages. So in terms of starting the conversation is around what Gurbani says. Gurbani actually says, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji actually highlights, that women are equal to men, although I think they're more than equal. But I think that is important, and that is what our scripture says, the Sikh scriptures, and this is what other religions highlight as a fantastic point in creating equality across the world. However, from experience, I find that the equality is not so much true in reality, and that is what we want to actually have a look at. So if we can start with that, Davinderjeet, what are your views on that?
I think, I feel the women these days should be given the opportunity, the liberty to do what they want to do. It's just not the household. The household is very important, so you can't ignore that. But with that, when you step out of the house, so you have to explore the world outside the house as well. So if you know, you keep a balance between the house and your professional life,
Career, yeah.
so that keeps a balance, so you know what exactly is going around you. So you're not just stuck home and just doing the house chores. You are doing more than what sometimes what it depends on your culture, your upbringing. So this is actually this is what I feel. So coming from a family where I come from a family where the girls we went to a convent school, but at the same time we were explained that the house work is really important, so you can't have a career and you ignore your family life.
Okay.
So you keep a balance between the two.
I think it is. In terms of identity, women generally link themselves with a number of roles. They're identified not as the individual, but identified as somebody's wife, somebody's daughter, and they have a gender. They usually have a link with a male counterpart and a female. That they say that she's the daughter of, or the wife of, or the granddaughter of. So it's interesting concept. Ruby, what do you think to that?
Oh, that's quite an interesting point, because as you were saying that, what came to me is that we're very much still in the patriarchal society in the sense of male dominated. So in that sense, I don't think we've moved away from that at the moment. Even though women have got equal rights as men, you know, we go out, get educated, and we're very independent, have careers, and pretty much can do a lot of things that men can do. But it's a mindset, and I think that mindset, maybe it's something to do with biology perhaps, or maybe it's something to do with culture, or something with the way that we've been brought up. So I think there's quite a few things that actually interplay with each other and
Yes.
trying to pinpoint
It's
what it
quite
actually
complex. It's not it's not an easy topic, and and the task of a woman to perform different. It's like wearing different hats for different groups of the society or your family as well. So calling on Benji Huni, Dev, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪ ਦਾ ਦੱਸੋ ਜਨਾਨੀ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰੀਆਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਸਿੱਖ society 'ਚ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਣੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਜ਼ਮਾਨੇ 'ਚ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਲੇਡੀ ਘਰੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਦਵਿੰਦਰ ਜੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਰੂਪੀ ਜੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਆਪਾਂ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਆਪਣੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰੀਆਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਵੱਧ ਗਈਆਂ ਆ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੀ ਖਿਆਲ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਦਾ
ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਨੂੰ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਥ ਦੇਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਰਿਸਪੌਂਸਿਬਿਲਟੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਹੈ ਜਨਾਨੀ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਾਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਖਾਲੀ ਰੋਟੀ ਪਾਣੀ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ ਅਤੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਗੱਲ ਖਤਮ ਬਾਹਰਲੇ ਕੰਮ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਕਰਨੇ ਪਰ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਨਾਨੀ ਵੀ ਬਰਾਬਰ ਕਰਦੀ ਆ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਥ ਦੇਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਇੱਕੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਹੀ ਆ
ਜੀ
ਸਾਰੇ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਜਾਣੀ ਫੀਲ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਬੜਾ ਹੌਸਲਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਜਦ ਬੱਚੇ ਵੀ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਘਰ ਦਾ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਰਿਲੈਕਸ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫੀਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ
So it's not the woman working on her own. It's a family environment that's supporting the woman to be the stronghold of the household. Babaji actually talks about mothers, and I know all of us are moms, well myself and that, and you're newly married, and this lady's she's not married yet, so we're looking for a potential good partner, I think, in the future. Maybe. But I think that one of the things it is about having a balanced life. But I think my own view is that you find that you might have a professional career, you might have all your double degrees, MBAs, PhDs, etc. But your role within the household, when you walk through that door, is actually that housewife. And you have to do everything, but majority of the time that actually puts a lot of pressure on the woman to perform at a higher level because the expectations are quite high. So how do you manage that, and how do you think it should be managed?
If I will speak from my own experience now. When I was single, obviously the life was very different. So work, come home, things would be all done, food cooked because it's your mother, she's around. Now once you are married, you're working, you come home, then it's the kitchen work and sorting out other things. But with that, if your partner helps you, which my partner does, so it makes a lot of difference. So we divide the work. So when we are in the kitchen, so we start it's not a big plan, but there's somebody to support you. So that makes a big difference in your life. So it's quite balanced. So the person in whether it's your husband, your dad, your brother who's around is actually giving you the respect of what you do. And when you come home, it's just not your responsibility, it's a joint responsibility.
Okay. One of the things I find interesting is sometimes on WhatsApp people will send you quite a lot of videos, and one of the interesting one that I had recently, the gentleman was asking his father. He phoned him up and said, I think I want a divorce because my wife doesn't pay attention to me, my favorite meals are not cooked, and things like that. After 7 years I think it's not working out. However, the father said, have you kept your vows as what you promised in your, when you took the vows, and I will look after her and take on her faults and traits and not, criticize her on those. It was interesting because then the man actually reflected on what his actions were. Because sometimes we can fall into a habit saying, well, I've come home as a husband, I've been working all day, you being at home all day doing nothing. That's an interesting concept. So therefore the food should be on the table ready for me to eat. I mean, and many a woman is experiencing difficulties with that. So again, how should that balance happen? Obviously, he's been working hard to earn the income and come home. We are actually talking about professional women or other women now going to work, working virtually longer hours as well. So, what are your thinkings on that, Benji?
ਇਹ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਹਿ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਬਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਬਹੁਤੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰੋ ਜਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਥੱਕੀ ਹਾਂ, ਪਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਫੈਮਲੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਆਦਤ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਬਈ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਰਿਸਪਾਂਸਿਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਜਨਾਨੀ ਦੀ ਗਈ ਆ। ਹੁਣ ਉੱਥੇ ਤਾਂ ਸਰ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੁਲਕ ਵਿੱਚ, ਇੰਡੀਆ ਵਿੱਚ, ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਉੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਵਾਲਾ ਹੀ ਹਾਲ ਹੋਇਆ, ਜੋਬ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ। ਇੱਥੇ ਹੁਣ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਬਾਹਰ ਵੀ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਉਣਾ, ਫਿਰ ਘਰ ਆ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਕਰਨਾ, ਫਿਰ ਜੇ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਕੋਈ ਨਾਲ ਕਰਾ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਇੰਨੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਉਹ ਸਾਡਾ ਹੌਸਲਾ ਵੱਧ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਈਜ਼ੀ ਲੱਗਦਾ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਆ ਬਈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਕਿੱਡੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਰਿਸਪਾਂਸਿਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਹੈ।
ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਮਝ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਹੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਆ, in the sense of ਤੁਸੀਂ it's about if we're empowering someone, if we Benji was saying that earlier about valuing someone, I think that's where it changes the dynamic, doesn't it?
Yes.
In the sense of if we value someone for what they're doing, the fact that they're still going out and they're working and they're at home and they're, because I think women still, like when you said women, even we say that there's equality, I think probably a woman probably wears more role hats, so she's got more to manage. But within a family, I think it's really important not only for the woman to get empowered, but for a man to understand how to empower a woman as well, and what's required of him to support her while she's supporting the family.
I think the word on empowerment is I think what we will do is look at different elements, because within the home, really what we're saying, it is very, very important. Whether your wife is working or whether she's at home, it is nice that the partner actually helps where they can. Yeah, and that actually alleviates you some time to spend time together, and also have the joint decisions around children's education, what's been happening in the day for the woman, and at work. One of the things I think we need to look at is this access to what they call rights of women. Yeah, people call it, well, of course she has rights. Yeah. But when it comes to exercising those rights, they seem to non-exist in most cases. Do you want to say anything, Devinder or Rupi, on those? I mean, that's my view. Yeah. Rights of women. How important is that, considering we had to fight for the vote? So why is it so important to have rights? Do women have rights?
I think I'm not like a feminist or like a real pro-woman sort of thing, but I'm rights for everybody, whether it's even a child. Everybody has a right to be respected, valued, taken care of, loved, you know, nourished. So every single human being on the planet, despite their gender and stuff like that. The clients that I've worked with and stuff in domestic violence, what I've noticed is that culture plays a really important part. Like how religion can sometimes be manipulated to actually control women or to actually have them to be submissive.
I think what I'm going to highlight, because I didn't give the background, Rupi is actually a qualified counsellor where she deals with women. I think it's very, very important because she uses the language background as well to help Asian women who may not be able to access some of the services offered by the white counterparts. So she actually offers counselling to women in order to deal with situations they may be going through, whether it's through mental health or emotional upheaval or divorce and bereavements and things like that. So sorry, Rupi, continue.
So basically, one of the things that I've noticed generally with clients is of the Asian background is that culture, jere sada pichlaya sochniya, that really influence how a woman, I would say, like to say, behaves.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's more to do with the older generation?
No, I wouldn't say it's that, not with the older generation.
I think it's across the board.
It's across the board.
It's interesting, it's across the board.
Yeah, it's like ingrained in us that we have a certain way of conducting ourselves, which is really interesting.
I would add, it's the family values, because as how you have been brought up, you've seen your father, your grandfather behaving. The kitchen is only meant for ladies, so the men has no role in the kitchen.
Yeah, so that's why they sort of sometimes use the concept of you should be why tied to the sink or something. They use the terminology. That why aren't you in the kitchen?
Yeah.
Rather than being at a board meeting. So it's interesting that those prejudices are actually deep entangled, isn't it? And sometimes the behaviours, even though individuals may not want to discriminate against you, they will do so. Because of the culture that's already surrounding, or the patterns of behavior which are being sort of maybe tolerated, and people think they can just do that and that's okay to do.
Yeah, and I feel maybe it's in our community or maybe other Asian communities, it's a very macho thing for men not to be in the kitchen. So if the kitchen is only meant for the lady,
Third lady.
and even if the partner wants to be, helping, because of the family pressure,
Yeah.
he avoids doing it because
That's
then
interesting, because I have noticed this.
Yeah.
My husband will assist where he can in the kitchen, but when we have guests, he won't move from the sofa. and I'm thinking, oh, okay, all right. And even to collect things, he just won't move. And afterwards, I'll sort of have a quiet word. Excuse me, why didn't you do that? And I think it may be because, again, it's interesting because we behave in a way that we perceive that other people want to perceive us as. And it's interesting you're saying that the macho things might be degraded if your husband came in the kitchen and started helping you with the cooking. They might even say, oh, she's got him around her little finger, type of thing, concept, isn't it? Rather than empowering you to say, well, yes, he should be doing that because that's what the work required. So it's interesting, isn't it? So moving away from the concept of rights, then our Gurbani says that women are equal. I'm actually saying they're not equal. Now I would like you to sort of say to me why is it true they're not equal? How are they treated? How are women treated in reality? And I know this is a reality show, this is the issues show, and this is being transparent as well.
There has always been discrimination, and no matter now whether we are here or whether back home, discrimination, I have seen my friends complain. They all are professionals. One of my friends she did her MBA, she was working, but she had to give up her job because by the time she would come home, she had to cook for the entire family, and the husband is not supposed to be helping her. So she had to change her career. So discrimination has always been there, no matter how qualified you are, whether it's West or it's India. You do come across things like that.
But sometimes he needed to help to the partner, but somebody at home, he feel, but they said to me.
Yes, that's what we were talking about, which is interesting. In terms of coming from, because I strongly feel, and even though we have equal rights, equal pay, votes, etc., there is a discrimination within the structures of England, as well as we know about in India. But one of the things we say, we want to empower women, right? And the empowerment is, first of all, being truthful to yourself. And in looking at the components of empowerment, it actually says the process by which women gain power, right? And control over their own lives. So if you can do that test and say, do I have the power to control what I want to do rather than what my husband or my in-laws or my family or my daughter or my son want me to do? Do you have a choice in that? And do you exercise that choice? Or when it comes to that choice, do you actually shy away from it and say, no, it's okay, I didn't really want to do that, when in fact your heart might be saying, yes, I do want to do that. Rupi?
I think it depends. It's probably going to be individual. I can't think that we could give individual cases, because collectively we can't really answer that. In my case, in the sense of my family background, my dad's side's a very large family. All the girls have been treated equally as the boys. We're encouraged to get educated, we're encouraged to be independent, we're encouraged to go out and work. And there's never been a difference, as in you're a girl, you're not allowed to do this, or you need to do this. So very encouraged, and there's never been, I can't recall a time where I've been stopped to do, oh, you're not allowed to do this, or actually you're a girl, you can't do this, in that sense.
Okay.
So, but I've been one of those, I fully have taken, I would like to think that I have exercised those rights, whatever those rights are. And I think for me, it's not about being like aggressive about those rights, it's being very much about embracing what is available to you. And you know, when you said having empowerment, you know, I think conditioning plays a lot in that. In the sense of the way we've been brought up, and our family and their rules and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That can really dim our light.
I think it's interesting when you make a comment. Rupi's making a comment that my brothers and I are treated equally. Now the next question I would ask: has your brother been in the kitchen cooking with you?
He likes cooking.
He does.
Yeah. If he's
There you
watching,
go,
he's
the
going to love
test-
this.
the test-
Yeah,
the
he's a
test
really
is
good cook,
passed.
actually. He's a really good cook. So yeah, we do encourage him to cook.
Okay. Whereas with my scenario, and again we talk from our own experiences, my scenario was that we were 3 sisters, and we generally did all the cleaning, the cooking, the house. And I have one brother, and he wasn't doing any of that really. And I was wondering at times what he was doing. Probably watching the football and TV and things like that. But you know what it is? I think it is the conditioning which actually it's embedded. And when you get married, your behaviors, they say we want good no, you know, who can do X, Y, and Z. Yeah, but sometimes because you may have suppressed some of your desires to do X, Y, and Z, maybe go to university, or some of those can be, you know, you're on the back step, always catching up. Yeah, and again, I'm talking from my own experience, where my parents didn't feel they needed to educate girls. Yeah, it was okay for my brother to get an education, and it was interesting. He wasn't interested in it. Yeah, I was interested, and I wasn't encouraged. So, is that still the case? That there's a different element of opportunities for women in terms of education?
If I look back, I would say yes, nowadays parents are encouraging their girls.
They are.
Yes.
Okay.
And the girls are doing really well.
So the balance is getting better.
It's
which is
getting
good.
better, yes.
But in looking at statistics, especially international statistics, namely around poverty projects, the education, access to education is one thing, which is one of the United Nations Millennium Goals, is to educate young girls. Yeah. And because even now in India, they probably get the young girl to do the household chores rather than send her to a school. And we were having a conversation I think it was last week, about elders being abused. Yeah, and the concept of that was that elders can be quite vulnerable to them not understanding the information, or maybe illiterate, not because of their fault or lack of responsibility. It's because where they found themselves, where they weren't being sent to school because they were needed in the household or on the farm or whatever, and that actually created a disparity in their accessing education here and also accessing the right jobs as well. But it's good to know that you're saying that girls are actually more proactive, they're getting the education, they're getting their PhDs, but we have another issue: they can't find the lads who are quite educated as them, which is a slightly different scenario. One of the things, and I think we need to focus on, I know I'm moving on a bit, is about self-worth. You know, when you sort of say empowerment, you have to start with yourself. And one of the things, we make ourselves work more like slaves, you know, keep going, and then we expect somebody else to treat us differently.
I think it's
Is that the
sometimes,
case, or?
you know, sometimes you're multitasking, which I think every day you do that.
So you don't think that you're being taken advantage of on occasions?
Sometimes yes, but I think
And how do you react to that?
Because you get so used to that routine, because then you want to be organized, so you just carry on rather than waiting for somebody to, to take over or to come forward or say something. So I feel it's sometimes you just take charge and you don't even realize, and when you get realize, it causes you a lot of frustration at times.
Okay.
So I mean, sometimes I do feel that Monday to Friday is your full-time job,
Yeah.
and with that is your personal life. You're catching up with your extended family and other things you need to do. So
Do you make time for yourself?
you find it really hard.
Okay, so that was one of the tests, really, because if you have kind of self-worth, you need to make time for you. Yeah, and one of the things I think we're not used to is, first of all, sitting still, yeah, and not doing anything. Yeah, because either when women sit down, they start knitting, or they're doing something, or they're multitasking, as you say. So that self-respect or self-worth is actually making time for you. Yeah,
That was one
just
of
for the sake of
the,
it.
yeah, that was one of the things that cropped up just before we started. I was just saying to Benji that about mental health, about a lot of people coming through mental health.
Yes.
If we look back, like a lot of people in the olden days, depending on even in England and stuff, when they used to go to the churches and stuff, people used to pray. So people would pray, they'd have a conversation, you're talking to God, you're giving him your burdens.
Oh, okay. That's
But now what they're doing is coming into the counselling room and giving it to another human being.
right.
But you're still having a conversation with someone.
So you need that conversation, which is another element. One of the things I want to talk to the Sangat, the topic for today is about women, women empowerment, the issues that women have around their family or their work environment. They might be experiencing difficulties. One of the things we're saying that they really do have rights and they have choices, and they need to exercise those rights. If you would like to actually phone in, we have a number for you, because I can't quite see it. It's 0121 516 2828. You can ring in and make your contribution or ask some questions of the panel as to how they feel empowered or not empowered. Okay, so I think what we'll do is I think for me, I've actually done training of women in going in to set their own businesses up. One of the things I found in terms of discrimination was not so much that they were encouraged to go out and want to set up their own businesses, but on generally, and this wasn't just the Asian ladies, it was a variety. There was 25 ladies who were considering to set up their own businesses. The support mechanisms weren't there to support them, right? One of them was financial. Yeah, people weren't willing to invest in women with their business ideas. It wasn't because their business idea wasn't good enough. It was because the banks didn't have structures in place in how they identified their capacity to actually nurture their business and grow. Yeah. So you can see, so I think there are issues around in the environment. And again, I know you were part of the project. What was your feelings on that and the finances?
That was the main
Sorry?
factor. That was the main factor for not going ahead with that project.
Yeah.
Because I think what I feel is it's a lack of confidence within yourself.
Okay.
So if you are really confident and you know, then you can convince the other person.
Right.
And again, I would say, being a woman, you feel, what if I might not be able to do so?
Yeah, that's interesting.
So that is something you within yourself, you have doubts about your own self. So I think that was something which stopped me going ahead with the project.
Yeah, I think the I think the key thing is that you do need that confidence in order to move forward. And I think with anything, even going for an interview, if you go to see your bank manager, and even when you feel that somebody is actually violating your rights, how do you speak up? Yeah, yeah. we're going to speak in Punjabi a bit more because I have a tendency to speak in English. ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਨਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਆਪਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਭਰੋਸਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੋ ਕੋਈ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਉਹ 'ਚ ਭਰੋਸਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋ ਸਕਿੱਲਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਨਾ ਉਸ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਬਟ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਨਾ ਐਵੀਡੈਂਸ ਮਿਲੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬੈਂਕਾਂ ਵੀ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਨਾ ਲੇਡੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਲੇਡੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਅਦਰ ਲੇਡੀ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੰਡਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਣੇ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ because they didn't believe they had a track record of earning you've got to be in business in order to grow business they felt that wasn't right so one of the things I think remind me that I got to speak in Punjabi. I'll revert to thingy again. The other one is about can I move on? I think it's important that you say what you feel as well rather than me driving you to say X, Y and Z because I do feel strongly that our women are not being supported in the way they need to in order to have a voice. I feel they are very silent, they're becoming invisible and their views are not being heard or their voices or their cries as a case of in the counselling situations are not being heard being victims of domestic violence or other abuse.
I think it's really important to say that like with domestic violence ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ badly treat ਕਰਨਾ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਦਾ ਕੁੱਟਣਾ ਮਾਰਨਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਵਾਈਫ ਨੂੰ ਪੈਸੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਲਾਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈਣੀ ਜਾਂ ਘਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਲਾਹ ਹੈਗੀ ਜਾਂ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਜ਼ਮਾਨੇ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ husband walks in front wife walks a couple of steps behind ਇਹ ਥੋੜੇ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ that's if we're talking about equality ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫਿਰ equality ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਾਲ
I think we got a sorry to interrupt you. I think we got a call coming in ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਫਤਿਹ ਜੀ hello
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਫਤਿਹ
ਦੱਸੋ ਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਪੈਨਲ ਨੂੰ ਪਾ ਰਹੇ ਆ
मैं क्वेश्चन यही कहना सी कि प्रोग्राम बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है very impressed with the subject
ठीक जी
ਤੇ यही कहना सीगा कि I think women ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੋਰ empower ਤੇ encourage ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ
ਜੀ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਤੇ just to carry on the good work.
Okay, and what are your views on women's choices and women being silent victims?
I think women generally always feel that they don't have enough support or they don't have enough say, and I think it's just a mindset.
Yeah.
And what I would feel is that if we get programs like such and we get the awareness as you're doing so now, people would probably, ladies would probably get more encouraged, more confident to speak up. And obviously come up with their full potential in doing business, in helping others, in doing voluntary work.
Yeah.
So I think we should try and help support each other. We should have networks where we can actually get together and bring out the best in women because it's all there. They're able to do multitasking. They're able to run households.
Yeah.
And why can't they take that outside into running their own businesses? There are already some women are career women. They're doing ever so well there. So we should take aspiration and inspiration from them and get motivated and help each other. I think women try not to discuss these things openly, but what we really want to do is try and see that we're there for each other, to help each other and bring the best out of each other.
Yeah, thank you. That's very positive. And I think it's unity in numbers. I think sometimes women do feel, like our caller said, that they have the skill sets, because they're managing a home, but when they're applying for a job, let's switch to the idea of careers and positions of authority, they tend not to highlight the skill sets they have in managing their children, their family, their elders, that vast array of duties that they perform. And coming from the senior management side, I noticed that women don't sell themselves enough with their skills. And it's interesting there in the G that you said there was a lacking in confidence. Is that lacking in confidence coming because they're not getting positive feedback or no feedback at all?
I would rather say when within the family, they hear you, but it's not listening.
Right, that's an interesting.
So-
They're here, but so we don't even know if they're here. It's interesting. one of the words that they talk about is one of the skill set is about listening. Yeah, and but you're saying they hear you, but they're not listening, or they hear you, or they're not acknowledging, or they hear you, or they're not praising. But they sometimes will hear the one thing, but they'll criticize you. Yeah. So is that the kind of balance? Because sorry, I'm talking from my own experience. It doesn't matter how many 9 things I do well, nobody will mention them. Yeah. So I feel people need to feel sorry for me, I think. So the 9 things that I do well, they don't get acknowledged. But the one thing that I haven't done so well gets the focus. Yeah. Now, how do you feel in your life? I mean, I was looking at Rupi or Benji, the scene.
ਤਾਂ ਪਰ ਅੱਗੇ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਫਰਕ ਪਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਜ਼ਮਾਨੇ 'ਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਸਾਡੇ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਾਹਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਪੁੱਛਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਉੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਬਈ ਚੱਲ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਆ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ ਪਰ ਹੁਣ ਅੱਗੇ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਫਰਕ ਪਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਗੁਰੂਆਂ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਆਸ਼ੀਰਵਾਦ ਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਿਰ 'ਤੇ ਹੱਥ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਲੇਡੀ ਜੀ ਕਲਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਬਈ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੋ ਕਿਉਂ ਮੰਦਾ ਆਖੀਏ ਜਿਤ ਜੰਮੇ ਰਾਜਾਨ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਰਾਜਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਜਨਮ ਦੇਣਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਕਲਚਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਲੱਕੀ ਆ ਆਵਰ ਕਲਚਰ ਇਜ਼ ਵੈਰੀ ਗੁੱਡ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ 'ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਲੇਡੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਬਰਾਬਰ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਪਰ ਅੱਗੇ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਫਰਕ ਪੈ ਚੁੱਕਿਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਹੋਰ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਤੇ ਕੁਛ ਹੋਰ ਬੀਤਿਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਕੁਆਇਟ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਨਾਓ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਠੀਕ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ ਕਾਫੀ ਫਰਕ ਪੈ ਜਾਣਾ
ਪੈਨਸ਼ਨੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਠੀਕ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ ਆਪੇ ਠੀਕ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ I don't agree with her
ਨਹੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਗੁਰੂਆਂ ਦਾ ਆਸ਼ੀਰਵਾਦ
I don't think it'll get done by itself I think it needs action
ਇਹ ਵੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ
ਐਕਸ਼ਨ
ਇਹ ਵੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ
ਪਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਦਾ ਸੇਵ ਆ ਆਪੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੋ
ਜੇ
ਜਾਣਾ
ਤੁਸੀਂ
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਿਦਾਂ have we got rights ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ladies ਕੋਲ rights ਹੈਗੇ ਆ I think ਹਾਂਜੀ rights ਹੈਗੇ ਆ rights ਇੱਥੇ ਆ but ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਉੱਥੇ ਤੱਕ ਤੁਰਨਾ ਜਾਣਾ
ਖੜਨਾ ਪੈਣਾ
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਥੋੜੀ ਹਿੰਮਤ ਹੋਊਗੀ and have good qualities I don't think it's necessarily about like a fight off between like males
no
or
it isn't It isn't about fighting against the gender or the community. It's about you having your self-worth in order to say, if you don't feel like doing something, let's say I'm not feeling very well and I don't feel like cooking, I can say, I don't feel like cooking. Right? What will be the repercussions of me not cooking? Right? Sorry, the repercussion. I know my husband will probably get a pizza in, but I'm saying in a situation where the traditional modelling is that the husband comes home, expects the roti there with 2 dal and whatever. I'm not saying this is not what should happen. However, if you are ill, you're not well, and therefore you can say, this is your right to say that actually. Your right to say, I am not feeling very well, I don't feel like cooking. Or maybe some guest just sort of without phoning decides to pounce on you when you got the larder's empty, right? You can actually say, I'm sorry, we'll invite you next week, but today we won't be able to feed you. I don't know how it will go down. But I'm joking apart.
You probably won't be seeing them again.
But it's a serious scenario. Do you exercise your right or you exercise your right and then have a mega argument with your husband after because he's not pleased that you haven't cooked with nothing in the larder? I'm deliberately provoking you guys because you need to be provoked. You're too quiet for me.
I think I can't answer that question. The only thing that I was going to say, obviously, because with mum and dad, mum probably turn around and say, "Go dal banondi." She'll probably carry on with it, you know.
Okay.
But I think, you know, like I said, the rights are there, but it's about how you exercise those rights, like actually not having the guilt as well. So I could understand, like a lot of ladies, if they did say that, they'd have the guilt and the shame. They'd be like, no, but who's going to do it if I don't do it?
That's an interesting one because it's not so much other people punishing us as women. We punish ourselves. We don't need other people punishing us. We tend to be our own worst enemy. Is that right? Yeah. And I think we do set ourselves high standards. We expect to be good mothers. We expect to be good wives. We expect to be good daughter-in-laws. We expect to be good daughters. And again, that association. Yeah. Now, where does it say you expect to be good to yourself?
I think when you try to be good to yourself, that is not accepted in the family sometimes.
It's not accepted.
No, it's not.
Be nasty to yourself, you're all right.
Yeah. So I would not basically blame the husband, but I think it's individual families and how you have been brought up, and sometimes when it's a joint family, then it becomes all the more challenging. So it all depends on the situation,
But I
to
think
be honest.
The main role that women probably play, the main role जो lady ਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ, is people pleasers. ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਖੁਸ਼ ਰੱਖਣਾ, putting
That's
everybody on before us. ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਰੱਖਣਾ, ਫਿਰ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਿੱਚ
please others. Yeah. So it might be worth to be honest with yourself and please yourself. Where would that sit? Just imagine on live Sangat TV we're saying, next time you have an issue, first think about yourself. Yeah? And see where you're at. It's not being disrespectful, but I think we do find that we do things to please others, and then we're sort of moaning and groaning about it afterwards, saying, well, I did this and this and this and this, and there's the scenario I hear is the ladies will say, मैं उन्होंने लिए यहाँ किता, मैं उन्होंने यहाँ किता, मैं हैदा पैसे देते यहाँ किता, पर मेरी किसी ने इज्जत नहीं की थी मेरी.
I think it
That's-
happens
is there?
because I would speak from my own experience
Yeah.
now. Sometimes you want to avoid any argument, so you want to just cut short.
Yeah.
So you just carry on. So no further arguments and misunderstandings within the family.
Okay. So one of the things that women are, they're compromisers. Yeah? Can I say that? They compromise and they say, oh, well, ਗੱਲ ਹੋਈ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ we don't want to upset ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ, ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ. But ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਫਿਰ life ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ, ਫਿਰ people just take you for granted. Yeah? So we have only about 4 minutes left of the show, which is interesting. It's gone so quick, right? And the thing was about women and the power of women, yeah? So I think it is about having the confidence to speak up, having your choices, yeah? And making sure that everybody does equal share of the role, yeah? In terms of empowerment, what they say here is having self-worth. If you don't value yourself, nobody else is going to value you. If you don't have self-respect, nobody else is going to respect you. That's one of the things. The other one is about accessing opportunities. If you get an opportunity to learn new things, do it.
True.
Yeah, you have got the skill set. Don't ever think I'm not good enough, because you won't know. Why are you saying it? Let somebody else say you're not good enough, because sometimes we are our own worst enemy. Yeah, and we say I'm not good enough for this and that. Yeah, so what we want to do is sum up. What is the one thing you would say to women watching what they should do?
Have confidence.
Yeah.
And be ready to explore and be very, very brave to witness something new, challenges.
Yeah,
So,
that's good.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਨਾਨੀਆਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ, ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ?
ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹੀ ਹੈ, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਦਮ ਚੁੱਕਣਾ ਪੈਣਾ. ਹੁਣ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਮਾਈ ਭਾਗੋ ਸੀਗੀ,
ਜੀ।
ਉਹ ਜੇ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਖੜੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਭਰਾਵਾਂ ਦੇ ਮੂਹਰੇ ਤਾਂ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿੱਡੀ ਉਹਨੇ ਕੁਰਬਾਨੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ.
ਜੀ।
ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਰਾਣੀ ਜਿੰਦਾ ਸੀਗੀ, ਦੇਖੋ ਉਹ ਆਪ ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਖੜੀਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਬਰੋਬਰ. ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਹੱਕ ਲੈਣੇ ਪੈਣੇ ਆ. ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਵੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਘਰ ਬੈਠਿਆਂ
Nobody
ਨਹੀਂ
will
ਕੋਈ.
give you the rights, so you got to take your rights.
Yeah.
Okay, how about yourself?
I would say that we've got natural qualities. ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿੱਚ natural qualities ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ladies ਵਿੱਚ, compassion ਆ, they are ਸੰਤੋਖ and love and all these brilliant qualities just women have, and we should envelope the family in that.
And we got to finish at that. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ
ਖਾਲਸਾ,
ਖਾਲਸਾ,
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ
ਫਤਿਹ.
ਫਤਿਹ.
Thank you.